How's it going, everybody? Ubisoft dropped a hotfix with Afeera changes yesterday. The patch has some good things and some bad things. I won't sugarcoat it. The old Infinite is gone. That's the good part. The method they chose is quite elegant in my eyes. Well, there are multiple reasons why it doesn't work anymore, so let's just go through them. But the one thing I meant was the added rotation after displacement left side heavy. Your character now rotates clockwise by 80 to 90 degrees, I'd say. This makes it impossible to continuously use the neutral bash into wall splat heavy as you mess up your position after each one. So let me show you the new Infinite then. Instead of only using the neutral bash, you now reposition yourself with the flip after the wall splat heavy. Then you delay the knee and rinse repeat. The link to flip from all left finisher heavies got adjusted to 500 to 600 from 200 to 300. What this prevented was using the neutral bash repeatedly after flipping back into position. With the old timing, you could have done the Infinite that way. With the new timing, you now need to delay the kick to hit them late enough. In perfect conditions, meaning catching during an early dodge attempt, this even allows you to land a same side out of stamina heavy after the last wall splat. If the position is not correct, you do get a light. Damage here is 4 times 16 plus either light or heavy, which makes this 76 and 88 respectively. It's unfortunate that it's still in, and it's also unfortunate that clunkiness in the forms of delayed flips and recoveries was added. I'll explain in a second. I just quickly want to mention again that simply lowering the damage of the wall splat heavy would make this less egregious. It's not ideal to have this in the game, obviously, but if there are only complicated workarounds available that leave a character feeling bad, then just decrease the damage. Imagine if the wall splat heavy did 5 damage as I've proposed in the last video. We'd be looking at 44 damage Infinite combo that leaves the user out of stamina. Would be quite nice to waste time, but it wouldn't work against somebody in Revenge, for example. Yeah, with the Breach Commander buff, you might 100 to 0 somebody if you don't mess up the input and are somehow in the perfect location that lets you do it 20 times in a row. Well, sure, but I guess you deserved it then. Oh well, let's look at the additional changes to these heavies. For one, you cannot realistically get a top heavy anymore. After a wall splat, that is. The 1066 ms recovery that Ubisoft added only allows for it at max distance. There seem to be some shenanigans to get a quicker guard switch out of it, but we haven't managed to consistently reproduce it, so feel free to share if you know exactly how to do it. On top of that, you now almost chain into your neutral lights, heavies, and the zone attack from the left side. You will immediately notice if you just buffer a same side attack after one of the displacement heavies. It is so much quicker than the other sides. But yeah, those were the changes directly affecting the Infinite. Sadly, we traded one for the other. In my opinion, the new one is harder to perform. More button presses, well, that leads to more potential mistakes. There is no doubt that people will practice and get this down pretty consistently. And I also think there's little to be argued about needing further changes here. You have my answer. If fancier fixes are possible and within the budget, I'll go for it, but damage is probably the easiest modifier here, and it would also allow us to get rid of these terrible new recovery values and flip chain links. Then let's talk stamina real quick. The feint cost of the neutral bash got changed to 10 from 20. Since the bash takes 20 to use and 10 to feint now, this is still quite a substantial chunk of your stamina bar. So a feint to guard break and a heavy now takes 57 stamina instead of 67. You all know what I think of high stamina usage, so I won't bore you with that sermon again. Let's just call it a solid first step. Then on to happier news. Hitboxes, forward momentum, trajectories and all that. I am very positively surprised by all this. This is just the forward movement for the chain heavies, but they don't feel bad. They aren't JJ or Raider tier, but this should definitely help to not feel as stuck with her as previously. Then for the hitboxes themselves, the patch notes call them weapon reach trajectories this time. These are way better than I expected them to be. I'll just leave them on the screen while talking. Previously, the main issue was that you only really had hitboxes when the character started some forward movement. That only happened when the lockdown target was rather close by, which also risked getting parried. And, well, yeah, the lights had good hitboxes, I have to say that. But for the other attacks, like the heavies, you actually hit to the sides and the front of you now. And this includes both sides. The weapon swing does correlate with what you hit. We will see how much the walls are her friends still, because I'm pretty sure many felt similarly. I couldn't hit my opponents all that well, but I was a champ at hitting walls that were next to me. It was the worst of both worlds. If you have huge hitboxes, you will naturally hit walls as well. But if you only hit walls and nobody else, quite a bummer. But these seem really good now. I don't think we can realistically complain about her having none. Might swing in the other direction, but I doubt that too. For example, the dodge attack isn't Pirates where it just touches everything within 5 meters around her, but it does attack people that stand in the way. So, good job here. I've only done testing and no actual matches so far, but these seem really solid. Then on to the last part, which is the feats, specifically the tier 4. It is now a 40% defense decrease with a 20-second duration. Both these values have been doubled. This still makes it worse than Fear itself, for example. It does some damage, but the debuff itself is not easy to confirm, in contrast to just having to walk up to somebody. And I think the biggest risk factor, well, teammates, as so often. This feat can bounce to your teammates, and with that you are applying the full debuff to them, 40% for 20 seconds. In the worst case scenario, you just sabotaged a whole team fight with that feat. Because the chance for friendly fire isn't all that small. Sadly, the confirmed other feats are still in, but I hope we get a statement about the removal soon. At least I hope Ubisoft isn't happy with that. But yeah, that's it for the hotfix. Let's hope the hotfix comes soon as well. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.